welcome back. If it's your first time, welcome. My name is Professor Khalil Amani, and this is Khalil Amani's World 100. We are on part 18. Can you believe that? I said we are on part 18 of the Sodom and Gomorrah situation. My goodness. Who do you know on YouTube or off YouTube that goes this long on one subject? And every video is different. It's not like I'm just, dragging stuff out. I really have stuff to cover. So welcome back. I always invite you to go back to part 1 and work your way through the series. But then I always say, if you're a Billy Badass and you think you know about Sodom and Gomorrah, jump right on in. I ain't mad at you. Jump right on in. I assure you, you're gonna want to go back and go, let me go back and check this brother out. And there's a one question litmus test as to whether you are worthy to be here on part 18 and it's your first part. There's a one question litmus test, and that is, if you think that Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction was about homosexuality, then you're wrong and you need to go back to part 1. That's the test. If you know that Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction had to do with those people's unhospitality and the way they treated people, they were stingy and nasty towards strangers. If you know that much, then you could be in part 18. You're on the right track. It was about the unhospitality of the people of Sodom that God hated. And Ezekiel 16 verses 49 and 50, it spells out the 6 things on God's hit list as to why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. I said Ezekiel chapter 16 verses 49 and 50. We've already talked about it way back when. But you can go check it out. Ezekiel 16 verses 49 and 50. It lists 6 things whereby God would say, I took them away as I saw good. That's right. We're going to keep on with this Sodom and Gomorrah story on part 18. Now, some have asked openly and some have asked in their own minds, who am I? Who is Khalil Amani? Before we get to the lecture, I want to talk about it about 15 minutes before we get into the lecture. But some have asked openly, and some have asked, to themselves without being disrespectful towards me. But some have wondered, what is my background? How do I propose to just come up here and upend everything we've ever heard about Sodom and Gomorrah?
Did you think I was something scary?
That's right. I said some have asked openly, and some have asked under their breath, who is Khalil Amani, and how does he have the nerve to tell the whole entire Christian world and to tell every Hebrew Israelite or Israelite in the world that they are wrong about Sodom and Gomorrah? Who am I to do it? What's your background, nigga? What's your background? Well, I tell you, this series on Sodom and Gomorrah, I'm 65 years old today. This series on Sodom and Gomorrah is stuff I learned in my 30s. About 30 years ago. Not only did I learn this stuff 30 some years ago, I'm actually a published writer, a published author. That I wrote 2 books. I wrote 6 books total. There's 4 of them, but the other 2 are right here. I'm knocking stuff. I'm moving the camera. But the other two are right here. These are two I want to talk about. You see, back when I was in my 30s, that was my research phase of my life. My 20s and 30s. I never stopped researching. But my late 20s into my mid 30s was probably the most research and academic time of my life. That's right. It was a time of observation and research. It was a wonderful time for me uncovering the mysteries of God. And when I began my biblical, religio, spiritual search for what I call truth, what I did was I knew I had a lot of stuff in my head that I'd been taught as a Christian from the Baptist church. I knew I had a lot of stuff in my head from being a Hebrew Israelite. Yes, I was a Hebrew Israelite in the 80s with the Yahweh ben Yahweh camp. I knew I had a lot of religious garbage in my head that had been fed to me via organized religion, the Christian church, and then the Hebrew Israelite cult of Yahweh ben Yahweh. I knew I had these ideals and this stuff in my head. But when I began to do my research, I wasn't trying to write a book initially, although I have 2 degrees in English. I have an AA and a BA in English. My AA is from San Diego Mesa College, and my BA is from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Got it? Got it. I have been through the halls, the hallowed halls of higher academia. I'm a high school graduate, and I'm a college graduate with 2 degrees. Not to mention I've been to trade school, and I've learned, in the medical field, EKG, lab assistant, phlebotomy. I've got all that. Also, I've been, what they call it, EMT. I got a lot of certificates because I've always strove to educate myself. But you want to know how I can talk about this Sodom and Gomorrah story and tell it like nobody's ever told it, and be on part 18 and still got a couple more parts left? People have asked openly and under their breath, what are my qualifications? Did I just come on YouTube and start, talking about this stuff? Because a lot of YouTubers, a lot of these Bible YouTube folks, they started their Bible teaching as a YouTuber. They really didn't have no backstory, no back training. They aren't published. They came on YouTube, turned their camera on, and started feeling themselves. They started feeling like they were important, and they have a message that everyone should listen to. They don't have no cosigns. Nobody's cosigning them. No academic cosigns. You know what they say? They're cosigned by God. We've heard that. Every shade tree preacher, every hallelujah huckster, every pulpit prankster, all of these ignorant shade tree Bible teachers, they have no formal training or no academic standing. They have no published works. So of course, they got to put their knowledge and training on the big man in the sky. I only need God. God co-signs me. Yes, right. God co-signs me. I ain't been to no seminary. I ain't been to no college. Hell, I ain't even graduated high school. Hell, I can't hardly read and write. But God's got me. God is telling me what to say. I'm preaching the word by the word God gave me. He told me God can go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. God told me. See, when bitch niggas have no resume, no pedigree, no curriculum vitae, no knowledge, no nothing, before YouTube became YouTube, they have to create a persona and call themselves whatever they call themselves and claim, God. No cosigns, just God. God is telling me, is giving me the information. Yeah, right, bitch niggas, yeah. But you ask about Khalil Amani. See, I'm glad that I'm 65 years old. I'm glad that I was into research before the age of social media. I'm glad came at a time when you had to sit down and read books. I'm glad that I am before, Google and Wikipedia and DuckDuckGoose or DuckDuckGo, whatever that site is. I'm glad that I was in probably the last generation of people when they said they researched, they really had to sit down and research. We really had to read some fucking books. There was no internet. There was no Wikipedia, and there was no YouTube, and there was no Google, and there was no Chat GPT when I was in my 30s back in the mid-90s. You had to get it out the mud. I said you had to get it out the mud. My generation, those of us that are like, 55 and up, 55 and up, we had to get it out the mud. When we say we research, it means we really read a fucking book. But these New Jack Bible teachers, these teachers that are under 50, if you under 50, you from the Google age, you from the Wikipedia age, you from the let me go to Chat GPT age, you from the let me pull up a PDF age. You ain't read shit. And that's why most of you niggas out there that talk Bible on YouTube, you ain't got books to show. I got books up top, books below you don't see. I got books over there, four shelves of books over there. I got books in my garage. I got books everywhere. Because those of us that are 55 years old and up, I'm not saying no young people read books. There are hundreds of thousands of young people that read books. I'm talking about this YouTube era. I'm talking about those that come on YouTube. There are a lot of young people that read books. Don't get it twisted. But I'm talking about those that come on YouTube a lot and try to teach. They got one book, that's the Bible, and then all of they're flapping their gums about how they're trying to interpret shit. When they say they do research, they mean they went to Google. They mean they went to Wikipedia. They mean they searched something out and found a PDF about a book, but they ain't read the whole book. They just found what they're trying to look for. When they say they do research, they don't know nothing about no MLA citation, Modern Language Association works cited. They don't know nothing about no APA, no American Psychological Association bibliography, how to cite sources. They throw the word research around very haphazardly. They have shitted on the word research and have lessened the value of what it means when we say research. But I'm glad that I'm from that last generation. When we say research, we really went to a library. We had library cards. We really went to used bookstores and new bookstores, and we searched the aisles looking for the information. We bought the books, we paid the money. We checked out books at the library, took them home and studied them and brought them back and returned them. And if the book was too good, we would keep the book and just pay the fine for the lost book. Oh, I've done that. I found some books that, I gotta have that. This ain't going back to the library. I'm sorry, not sorry. Call it thievery, but I'll just pay the fine. I need this book in my library. But seriously, the reason I can teach about Sodom and Gomorrah and being on part 18, each part being an hour and 20 plus minutes long, because I've done the research. What I'm doing right now, at 65, This is knowledge and information I learned in my 30s. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Facts upon facts. And so from age about 28 to about 36, those were the years, my people. Those were the years of hellacious reading and research and writing. And the culmination of those years of research was that I had the premonition that I should write a book. Yes, I might use a little profanity and some ebonics and some slang and some black English, but I's educated. Not only is I's educated, I'm published. Not only am I published, I have the backing and the cosign of at least 3 PhDs. Did you hear what I said? I said I have the cosign and the backing of at least, 3 PhDs. 3 PhDs. 4 PhDs. How many Bible teachers on YouTube can say that they have the cosign and the backing of people who have the highest attainable degree in the world? The Doctor of Philosophy, the PhD. So let me just show you real quick. We're going to get to the lesson. Give me about 10 minutes and we're going to get right to part 18. But let me just show you, because some people have asked, oh, what's your background, Khalil? Where you come from? Let me show you Exhibit A. I got it right here. Exhibit A is my first book contract. Exhibit A, here is my first book. It's called Ghetto Religiosity 2000, Third Millennium Liberation. It wasn't self-published. It was published by a mainstream publishing house. In other words, I sent the manuscript in and saw if I could actually sell this thing to a regular old publishing house. And God damn it, I did. So what I want to show you is Exhibit A real quick. Exhibit A is the letter from that publishing house. It was called Winston Derrick Publishers Group, Inc. Got it? There's my name, Mr. Khalil Amani. My address, I don't live there no more, so don't worry about that. And you see the date, April the 1st, 1997. On April the 1st, 1997, I was 22 days shy of my 37th birthday. I was still 36 years old, which means I had written this book for about a year. So I started my writing of this book somewhere around age 35. There's the phone numbers and all that. These people are, I think they're out of business now. They've gone on to do some other things. But this is the actual letter. And if you see, we can read it. It says, Dear Mr. Amani, I must say that I have certainly enjoyed reading your manuscript. Although very, very provocative, you certainly get the message across, especially to the brothers and sisters that need to read work that's in this type format. As I mentioned via telephone, I will have to use the imprint One Horn Press, which has been around for many years. This book will still follow the regular trade distribution as our other titles, and also will be included in our catalogs. You should receive a more detailed letter within the next 10 days, accompanied by a contract. This volume, meaning my book, oh, it was large. This volume is rather large and may have to be adjusted somewhat. That remains to be seen. In the meantime, relax and let's plan for a great marketing program. Sincerely, James W. Peoples, Ph.D. You got it? So this is the first cosign about my book on religion. I got a cosign, I got a book deal, a book contract by Winston Derrick Publishers somewhere around April 1st, 1997, and it's co-signed and backed up by Dr. James W. Peoples, Ph.D. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Most of these YouTubers that teach Bible, they ain't got no backstory. They ain't got no back credibility. Ain't nobody co-signing them. And because no one's co-signing them, they want to put their biblical knowledge strictly on God. I got it from God. As Richard Pryor was saying in his stand-up comedy, I was walking down the street. I said I was walking down the street. I was not running. I was walking down the street. And I heard the voice of the Lord coming from an alley. And I said, Lord, is that you? And they would not answer. And since they wasn't talking, I wasn't walking. Because it might be two niggas in the alley with a baseball bat. Some shit like that. That's what these YouTubers, you know, my YouTube nemesis, you know, struggle doctrine. Struggle doctrine. Nobody co-signs shit he says on Hebrew Israelites, on nothing. Salvation, he has no cosign. So, of course, niggas like that, all they have is God. All they have is God. I mean, it's good. It's cool. It's cool if God's speaking to you. But having man with accomplishments, men and when I say man, men and women who are accomplished, who hear or read your work and go, yeah, you're on to something, young man. That's what James Peoples did. That's what Dr. Peoples did. When I sent in my 561-page manuscript, he said it was rather large and we might have to adjust it. And they did. They made it into 3 parts. That's how I was giving it up at 36 years old. It's okay to have God in your corner. That's cool. But goddamn it, when you get a PhD that says, yes, you got the goods. Yes, we want to pay you for the goods. That's a beautiful thing. Because 99% of these people who claim that God is talking to them, they lying. Struggle doctrine, he's a liar. God ain't talking to him. And God ain't talking to most of the preachers that are in the world and most of the preachers that you see on YouTube. So that's why it's good to have the validation and the cosign of man and woman here on this earthly realm. And so, as it relates to this so-called Sodom and homosexual stuff, I've been about that. My second PhD. I wrote my second book. It's called Ghetto Religiosity 2, Uncovering the Naked Truth. What do you see under that? It says Khalil Amani, forward by who? Dr. or Dr. Morris R. Johnson. I'm reading it backwards. Khalil Amani, forward by Dr. Morris R. Johnson. You see this right here? The book is by me. The forward is by who? A real PhD, Dr. Morris R. Johnson. That's called a cosign. People with PhDs, people who have gone to school for 4 years and got a bachelor's degree, gone to school another 2 years or so to get a master's degree, and gone to school another 2 or 3 or 4 years to get a doctoral degree. They're not going to waste it on bullshit. They're not going to put their name and their doctorate on the line for bullshit. They're not going to put their name and their education and academia on the line for a bullshit writer. They're too invested. They've spent too much time and money and research to be putting their name on books that don't mean shit. You got to be about it, as Master P would say. And indeed, Khalil Amani has been about it. And so, this book that you see right here, this book was actually part of this book. This is how they divided it. They actually divided it into 3 books. The Ghetto Religiosity series is actually 3 books. But when I submitted this to the when I submitted to this company, it was all 3. It was 1 book. But as you read in here, it was so large that they adjusted it and they said, you know what? Let's make that 1 book into a series, a tome, volumes. So 1 book became 3 books. But it goes back to 1997. And so, when we talk about homosexuality, I deal with it in book 2. But going back, I got a whole PhD named Dr. Morris R. Johnson. Let me show you. You want to know how I can talk about what I'm talking about. Cause I'm real with my shit. I said my second book is called Ghetto Religiosity 2, Uncovering the Naked Truth. Khalil Amani, forward by Dr. Morris R. Johnson. If you think it's easy to get someone with a PhD to co-sign your book, you try it. You got to bring the information, and they got to read your information and see if it's worthy to put their academic standing, their academic achievement, their PhD, to give it the seal of approval, the stamp of approval. And indeed, I have been found worthy. And so, in the year, even though I wrote this in 1995, 96, it was published in the year 2001, some 24 years ago. And in there, I have that chapter. There you see it, homosexuality, the great sin of Sodom, exposing the Christian pseudo or false argument against homosexuality. Page 99. People want to know, what's my academic? How can I talk that talk? Here it is. Here it is. And so this part was published in 2001, some 24 years ago. And I get it in. It's a pretty long chapter. But what I'm doing today is even greater than what I did in my 30s. There it is, all of that. All of that is about Sodom and Gomorrah. See? Got the whole, citing my sources, all that good stuff. Citing my sources, all that good stuff. And in the back of the book, we cite our sources using the MLA, or Modern Language Association, bibliography. It's got a bibliography, all the books that I had to read to write this book. They're listed right there. I really am academic. This is called academics, academia. I went to school for this shit. And so now you may have an understanding of how I can teach what I teaches. I don't mind showing you my curriculum vitae and my resume. I don't mind showing it to you. You want to know how I can teach what I teach? That I'm not no jackleg preacher. I'm not no shade tree preacher. I'm not no Johnny come lately just because the world invented something called social media. The world invented something called YouTube. Oh, I'm going to get on and show my ass and act like I'm intelligent. I ain't done shit before the age of internet, but I'm going to act like I know because I'm old. Because I'm 65, I can fake like I know some shit. You know, there are a lot of old motherfuckers out here. You know, they come on YouTube and they think because they're old, they have knowledge and they should be listened to. But when you ask them, well, what did you do? What's your background? Where you come from? What school did you go to? What's your academics? Have you published anything? Do you have any cosigns from real PhDs? That's when they go back to, oh, I got God. Don't worry, I got God. And so, just to show you, oh, I didn't even show you what he said. I said, Dr. Morris R. Johnson, he writes the foreword. There it is, the foreword. And he writes, Ghetto Religiosity 2, this book, Uncovering the Naked Truth by Khalil Amani, is a hip-hop masterpiece. Goddamn. This volume is on fire with passion and courage, which seeks to ravage the foundation of black pie in the sky, Christianity. My preacher knows his Bible. In fact, the author, Khalil Amani, cogently argues that within the black church establishment, its theological and homiletic views are, at best, infantile bromides, which are devoid of any substantive historical rigor. Those are the words of a PhD. What the hell is a homiletic view? And what the hell is an infantile bromide? Those are the words of a PhD. And here he is in the back. Dr. Morris R. Johnson, historian, social activist, professor of history and political science at Miami-Dade Community College. All right. You know, show and tell, just a game I play when I want to say I love you. Whoa, show me and tell me. You know, I can't sing. And so, you see a cosign, and you saw that I published the homosexual stuff in Sodom way back in 2001, 24 years ago. Ugh, nasty work. But it doesn't stop there, people. Oh, I gotta go. It doesn't stop there. In 2007, as a writer, as a hip-hop writer and a hip-hop blogger, I took the whole rap world, the whole hip-hop world to task over its blatant homophobia in lyrics and in the culture. I did it. I'm that nigga. I said in 2007. In 2007, I would have been 47 years old. And I stepped to the whole hip-hop industry. I stepped to the whole rap world. And I, Khalil Amani, I wrote the first and only book addressing hip-hop's derogatory usage and disrespect of our LGBTQ family and community. I did it. And I wrote a powerful book. Not that many pages. 142 pages. Little skinny book. 142 pages. Called Hip Hop Homophobes. With a long ass subtitle. And in this book, I readdress Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me show it to you. They want to know. I'm going here to give it to you. I said I wrote a book. It's called Hip Hop Homophobes. Long subtitle. Origin and Attitudes Towards Gays and Lesbians in Hip Hop Culture as perpetuated by rappers, thugs, athletes, reggae rosters, and religionists. essays on the 3,000-year-old polemic against homosexuality, a religious hoax. It is at this time by Khalil Amani. Khalil Amani, S.A. S.A. means spiritual advisor. A hip-hopper's spiritual primer for overcoming homophobia. And the year I published it. What year? There it is. 2007. Before YouTube had really blown up. 2007. And in that book, again, I deal with homosexuality in Sodom. Let me show it to you. There it is. I republished in 2007 and proved that Sodom's sin was not about homosexuality. Sodom's sin was about people that were inhospitable or unhospitable. Stingy, arrogant strangers, people that treated strangers like shit. Yeah. That's it. Of course, I highlight gay rappers in the book. So that's I'm gonna stop on there. But there's more. But this book landed me in places like the Los Angeles Times, the Miami New Times. This book landed me a writing contract and a writing deal with DJ K. Slade's Straight Stunting magazine. Rest in peace. Let me show you that real quick. And then we're going to move on. I said, my advocacy for gay and lesbian rappers and my commentary on homophobia in rap and hip hop, it landed me in the Los Angeles Times. It landed me also in Spin magazine. Oh, I forgot about Spin. I gotta show you. I said it landed me in Spin magazine, but it landed me in world famous, nationally and internationally recognized DJ K. Slade. It landed me in his magazine called Straight Stunting. There's my name right there. There's my name right there. Khalil Amani, Why Gay Hip Hop. Also on the back, got Busta Rhymes, and also you have Khalil Amani, Why Gay Hip Hop. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. This was 2009. I really am about it. I really am about it. Let me show you the article real quick. There's the article. There I am. Look at me in my 40s. Wasn't I a fine young man? But I was writing for a world famous DJ K. Slade. That's right. You want to know how I could talk about this Sodom and Gomorrah stuff for 18 parts? There I am. See my name right? See my face? Oh yeah. I was about 45 years old there. 47. Looking good. And also, 2009. You see that Spin magazine? This is the second largest magazine, music magazine, behind Rolling Stone magazine. See in the corner there? Down here, what does it say right there? See right there where it says gay rappers? It says gay rappers. I gotta get to I'm gonna get to it, but I thought I'd take time out to toot my horn. Toot my horn. There you go. Here's the article. It says straight out of the closet. See my name right down there? What does it say? It says others remain more hopeful. All we need is our own Eminem, someone whose talent is undeniable, says Khalil Amani, author of Hip Hop Homophobes. See? I'm quoted in 2009 in Spin magazine. I just want to show you that. God damn it. While I'm here, let me see if I can pull it real quick. While we here, I'll leave that. I was going to show you the LA Times article, but I think you all believe me now. The LA Times article. Now let's get to, okay, I spent the first 40 minutes pulling my own dick. Ain't nothing wrong with pulling your own chain. Because you know there's so much hate on YouTube. Ain't nobody else going to pull your chain. Ain't nobody else going to big up you. Ain't nobody giving you your flowers while you alive. I mean, you know, that's just the world we live in. Niggas don't want to give you your flowers. You got to take your flowers. You got to take your flowers. So now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and women, men and women. Now you understand that Khalil Amani, I have the accolades and the academia and the cosignage from PhDs. And I have the cosignage of mainstream media. I have the cosignage of DJ K. Slay, the cosignage of Spin Magazine, the cosignage of the LA Times. My message is being heard by the masses. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So if you were wondering how I can come out here and speak about Sodom and Gomorrah in ways you've never heard, now you know. I started this journey in my 30s. I'm the last of the Mohicans when it comes to real research, reading, and citation. I am pre and before the age of Wikipedia and Google and social media and PDFs and Chat GPT, quick microwavable research. I got it out the mud the hard way. And in getting it out the mud, I wrote 6 fucking books. I said, I got it out the mud. And in getting it out the mud, I wrote 6 books. That's my pedigree. That's my resume. That's my curriculum vitae. That's my DNA. Before YouTube. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. Yes, I am. Now you know. Maybe you have a little more respect for this Sodom and Gomorrah conversation. Maybe you have a little more respect for Khalil Amani as a professor. And although I do not have a PhD, I still have given myself the label professor. Because I profess and I teach. I have the academic standings. I have the academic backing. I have the academic cosign of real PhDs. I don't have to rely on, making you believe that it's all about me and God. I don't have to, sit here and try to make you believe what I'm teaching you is straight from God. Oh no, I'm not saying that. That's what niggas do who have no academic background, no literary accomplishments, no cosigns from PhDs. They have to give all the glory to God. I'm not giving God the glory. And God don't want the glory. He created everything. No, this is my glory. Niggas accomplish shit and say, give the glory to God. No. You don't care about this shit. What we're doing here on the planet Earth is vanity. It's vanity. But because we think that we are the center of the universe, we think we are the center of the universe, and we think that if we do some great shit and accomplish a feat, we have to give it to God. Like what we did was so grandiose. Give it to him. He don't want that shit. God is sitting in heaven going, there you go. My nigga. There you go. Look at Khalil. Look at one of my creations. He did that. He wrote 6 books. He got 2 college degrees. He got the cosign and the backing of people with higher education than himself. That's what I put my people on earth to do. I put them on there to strive and be great. No, I'm not giving it to God. He don't care about this shit. The only thing God cares about is doing what he said he told us to do in Genesis 1 and 2. Be fruitful and multiply, subdue the earth, have dominion over it. Be the gods here on earth. Be the creators here on earth. He didn't say after you do something great, pray to me and tell me how great I am. He didn't say if you do something spectacular, don't accept the credit, give it to him. That's all bullshit y'all talking. I just have a different view of God. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Now let's get into it. We can spend about 40 minutes on this. About 40 minutes. This is part 18 of the Sodom and Gomorrah story. So what we have found out by looking at other translations of Bibles, we have found out what the grove is. In part 17, we came across a curious word in 1 Kings 24, 1 Kings 14:23. There's a glare hitting me. I see the glare. Sorry, y'all. It's still morning or something. What time is it? It's 11:30. But I see a glare hitting me. But we were reading 1 Kings, and we stumbled upon a word called grove. And at first thought, most of us probably thought when you saw the word grove, that we were talking about some acreage, some farmland, where there was a vineyards and apple trees and pears and banana trees and orange trees and maybe some radish and corn and some carrots, vegetation and fruit. That's what we think about when we hear the word grove. Grove, grove. According to the King James Version of the Bible, it translates as grove. But we have found out from part 17, go watch it, that when King James Version of the Bible uses this word grove, it's inaccurate. It's a mistranslation. What we found out by reading Erdman's Bible Dictionary, the Oxford Bible Companion, and the Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible, what we found out when we explored that word grove, we found out that it was a mistranslation. We found that the NIV, the New International Version, and the RSV, the Revised Standard Version, and other Bible translations, they don't use the word grove. They use the word Asherah. Or they use the word pole, P-O-L-E, like a stripper pole. What we found out with this King James Version mistranslation as grove, that it really was a nod. It was a nod at the goddess Asherah, the Canaanite fertility deity. Let's just go review it as we move on. And so, 1 Kings, the 14th chapter, we read this word in verse 23, for they, meaning the Israelites, specifically the tribe of Judah, also built them high places, that's like, holy relics, and images and groves, in every high hill under every green tree. And so we would go on to research that word in part 17. And we found out that groves is a pole dedicated to the goddess Asherah. And then, I'll show it to you right now. I'll show it to you right now. We'll close the Holy Bible. And we'll go to some translations. Look at this translation of the Bible. This is from the Jerusalem Bible. It's different than the King James. And when we read that same scripture, 1 Kings 14 and 23, look what it says. Let's find 23. 23. It says, he did what is displeasing to Yahweh God, arousing his resentment more than his ancestors did by all the sins they committed. They who had built themselves high places and had set up pillars and sacred poles. Right there, King James says groves. But in this translation, known as the New Jerusalem Bible, they don't use groves. They write sacred poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. See? There were even men in the country who were sacred prostitutes. We're going to deal with this sacred prostitute and sacred poles in just a minute. But that's one translation. Let's keep that there, and we'll keep it open, and we'll just slide it up there, and we'll go to another translation. This is called the NIV, New International Version. And let's see how it translates 1 Kings 14, 23. And it writes, they also set up for themselves high places, sacred stones, and Asherah poles. See? Wow, they use the word Asherah poles. In the other version, it said sacred poles. But nonetheless, both the New Jerusalem version and the NIV version call it a pole. What the King James calls a grove, these two versions call a pole. In this version, it says Asherah pole. On every high hill, under every spreading tree. There were even male shrine prostitutes in the land. That's another version. Let's go to one more version. Let's go to the New Oxford Annotated Bible. That's why you have to have more versions than that lame-ass King James. And in there they write, 1 Kings 14, they write, for they also built for themselves high places, pillars, and sacred poles. Again, using the word pole, a word that you don't find in King James. King James simply calls it groves. They had sacred poles on every high hill, under every green tree, and there are also male temple prostitutes in the land. Got it? So here we have, let me lay them before you. Here we have three different versions. Here we have three different versions of the Bible. Three different versions. Well, let's say four different versions. If we include, let me get a smaller Bible. Here we go. There's a smaller Bible. This is the King James Version, see? That's the King James Version. So, although we have, in this book, it says grove. In the NIV, it says Asherah poles. it says Asherah poles. In the Oxford, it says sacred poles. In the New Jerusalem Bible, it says sacred poles. And in the King James, it says grove. Let's go to that. 1 Kings. First Kings 14 and 23. There it is right there. So the King James is out of the loop. The King James is archaic. The King James is antiquated. The King James is old-fashioned. The King James is scholastically behind the 8 ball. The King James uses grove. But when you look at other more modern translation, it tells you what the grove is. It's a pole, and that pole belonged to the goddess of the Canaanites known as Asherah. And the Jews, the Hebrews, and the Israelites, they were into goddess worship. They loved that pole. Yes, they did. Got it? Now notice one more observation. It says sacred pole. That the Israelites were into the sacred pole. That's one, the Oxford says sacred pole. NIV just says pole. The New Jerusalem says sacred pole. What does it mean? What does sacred mean? Sacred. That whatever the Israelites were doing, they erected these sacred poles. Some of you all kind of know what a sacred is, but I'm like the kind of person, I'm not going to take it for granted that you understand what sacred means. So let's just go over. Again, let's go to the American Heritage Dictionary. Go to sacred. And what does it say? Sacred. There it is, the word sacred. Sacred. Dedicated to or set apart for the worship of a deity worthy of religious veneration. Made or declared holy. Dedicated or devoted exclusively to a single use, purpose, or person. Worthy of respect. Venerable of or pertain to religious objects. You got it? Sacred, dedicated to or set apart for the worship of a deity or a god. This is the goddess and this is the Sodomites. That's verse 23. And the very next verse says, and there were Sodomites in the land. What the hell are Sodomites doing in the land of Israel? All up around Judah, the 4th tribe of Israel. You see? While these Israelites today on YouTube talk that funky hot shit about gay people, their forefathers, back in the days of Joshua, back in the days of Solomon, back in the days of Solomon's son, they allowed the goddess and the Sodomites to set up Asherah poles, to set up Sodomite altars, Sodomite figurines, Sodomite religious imagery, goddess religious imagery, goddess figurines, all up in the spaces of the Jews, of the Israelites, of the Hebrews. Now let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's bring old King James back. I I only read King James mostly because most of y'all in your house, you have a King James Bible. So in this last 20 minutes, let me show you how the Sodomites are all up in Hebrew business, Jewish business, Israelite business. And it starts with 1 Kings 14. Oh yeah. Let me show you, man. Let me show you, man. We go back to 1 Kings 14. See. 1 Kings 14, verse 23. And they, the Israelites, the Jews, the Hebrews, specifically Judah, and Judah or Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. What evil did they do? And they provoked him, God, to jealousy with their sins, which they had committed above all that their fathers had done. Well, what did they do? What did the Jews, what did the Hebrew Israelites, what did their Israelites do, y'all? They say they so holy. They say they God's people. They say they got the real God. They call him Yahweh, 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 Yahuwah, Jehovah. They say they got the real God. Well, if you got the real God, what are you doing fucking around with the false gods? But these people, you Hebrew Israelites today, you say you got the real God? Well, your forefathers, what did they do? For they also built them high places, not for Yahweh, not for Yahweh. They built high places. They built images, not for Yahweh, not for Yahweh, not for Jehovah, not for Yahweh. And they built groves, Asherah poles, not for Yahweh, not for Yahweh, not for Yahweh, not for Jehovah. And they put these groves in the high places on every hill and under every green tree. And then there were also Sodomites in the land. And we've already found out now that the Sodomites were a religious bunch. This wasn't about no ass fucking, no rump rangers. This wasn't about no, sword fighting. This wasn't about homosexuality. This was about a religious practice that the Sodomites had, their own deity, including the god Baal. And these people, Judah or Israel, they built up all this, they paid homage, adoration, and veneration toward the Sodomites and the goddess religions. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And there were also Sodomites in the land. And they, Israel, did according to all the abominations of the Sodomites and the goddess religions. See, the Sodomites and the goddess, they don't look at their religious practice as abominations. This is what Israel is saying. They're calling the goddess and the Sodomites' religious practice abominations. That's what they're calling it. And Israel fell victim to it. Yeah. Facts upon facts. Now let's move on. Nigga said, struggle doctrine. YouTuber struggle doctrine. He told me today, you just deal with Sodomite business and stay out of Israelite business. No, nigga. I'm gonna be all up in your shit. Just like the Sodomites and the goddess were all up in Israel's business, I'm gonna be up all in your business, fuck nigga. I'm talking to struggle doctrine. Let's move on. 1 Kings 15:12. Look at this. Look at this. First Kings 15, the next chapter, verse 12. Starting with 11. And Asa was the king of Israel. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And King Asa, took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. See, King Asa's fathers, the Israelites that were older than him, that precede and predate him, they were all about the Sodomites' business. But King Asa would get tired of the Sodomites, and it says he took away the Sodomites and their religion out of the land and removed all the idols, those so-called groves, those Asherah poles. King Asa removed all of those idols that the Israelite fathers had made. I said, you Jews, you ancient Israelites and Hebrews, y'all were all about the Sodomite religion. And you niggas had made lots of idols to the Sodomite and the goddess shrines. Look at the next verse. And also, Makah, his mother, even her, King Asa, removed from being queen because she had made an idol and a grove. We know what a grove is. A grove is an Asherah pole. A grove is a pole dedicated to the Canaanite deity, the Canaanite goddess Asherah. And also Makah, his mother, even her, King Asa removed from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asa destroyed her idol and burnt it by the brook Kidron. Let's talk about that. Oh, it's getting good, isn't it? I love this shit. I love proving that these modern day Israelites, these modern day black Jews, these modern day Hebrew Israelites that love to talk slick. They love to talk slick. When they stand on the street corners, in the highways and byways of America, when they see a gay person, a lesbian chick, a transgender person, they start talking loud on the microphone and trying to high side and show out and expose and embarrass one of our LGBTQ family as they go about their day walking down the street. But look at these bitch niggas in real life. Look at these bitch niggas, these Israelites. You modern day Hebrew Israelites, you modern day Israelites, look at your forefathers, bitch niggas. Here you got a king, King Asa. When King Asa comes to power, the goddess Asherah and her pole, they didn't set up shop right in the temples at Jerusalem. When King Asa comes to power, his own mother, the queen, his own mother is a goddamn goddess worshiper. I said King Asa of Israel, his own mother is paying veneration and adoration and homage to the goddamn Sodomites and the Canaanite goddess Asherah. She's with it. She done built up figurines and amulets and statues and poles and all kind of religious imagery, sacred Canaanite goddess and Sodomite imagery. She didn't set that shit up in the Jews' temples. And King Asa is so fucking mad because King Asa says his forefathers, before King Asa comes to power, the ancient Israelites, they were about that shit. They were about that Sodomite life. They were about that goddess life. And when he comes to power, he seeks to change it. And the book says he has to drive the Sodomites out of the land. Why is he driving them out the land? Is he driving them out because the Sodomites are homosexual? Hell to the no. Read with some goddamn comprehension. King Asa is driving the Sodomites out, not for their ass fucking, not for their homosexual lifestyles. He's driving them out because the Sodomites are a religious bunch, and the Sodomites got the goddamn king's mother worshiping Sodomite imagery. You bitch niggas out there, you get so caught up on the word sodomite. All you see is sodomite, homosexual. But whenever the sodomites are mentioned, from Deuteronomy 23:17, the 1 Kings 14, the 1 Kings 15, the 1 Kings 22, the 1 Kings 23, all the scriptures that talk about the sodomites, they never talk about the sodomites as a homosexual group. They talk about them as a religious group that are being worshipped by the goddamn ancient Israelites. Facts upon facts and super facts. I'm not done with this. I said there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 scriptures that talk about the Sodomites. And all 5 of those scriptures in Deuteronomy and 1st and 2nd Kings. The context of the conversation is not whether they're homosexual. It's not their sexual lifestyles, their sexual proclivities. It's not. The context of the Sodomite conversation is a religious one. That the Sodomites have the Israelites worshiping their god Baal and whatever else gods they got. The context is that the Israelites are enthralled and immersed in Goddess, in Asherah worship, and in Sodomite worship. And when King Asa comes to power, he's so goddamn fed up. He's seen this shit since he was a child because his forefathers were into Sodomite and Goddess worship. And he comes to power and his own mammy, his own Ima, is a goddamn Goddess and Sodomite worshiper herself. King Asa, he dethrones his mama from being a queen. He said, bitch, you are no longer the queen. I love your mama. I love your mama, but you can't be queen no more. And he took her Asherah pole. He took her statue of the goddess and he destroyed her idol. He took it down to the brook Kidron and drowned that little bastard. Y'all think I'm bullshitting. I said, here it is, Asa's reign in Judah. And in the 12th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah. And 41 years reigned he in, I'm sorry, I'm reading through the lens. He in Maacah, he in Jerusalem, I'm sorry. Let's read that again. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem. This shit was happening in the holy city of Jerusalem, not in no backwoods. And his mother's name was Maachah, the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa the king did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. What did he do? He took away the Sodomites out of the land. The question is, why did he take away the Sodomites out of the land? Because they were homosexual? Hell no. We're going to find out why he took the Sodomites out of the land. If you continue to read, you will see what King Asa's problem and disgust was with the Sodomites. It wasn't their sexual perversions. It wasn't that they were homosexual. King Asa, took away the Sodomites out of the land. See, Here it goes right here. And removed all of the idols. This is religion that he's having a problem with. He took away all of the idols that his fathers had made. And then he addresses his mama. And also Ma'achah, his mother. Even her he removed from being a queen. He dethroned his mama. He took her off the throne. He took her goddamn crown, slapped that shit off her head, and said, get the fuck off the crown. You not a queen no more. Why did he do that? Because she was fucking with homosexuals? No. Because she was fucking with sodomites who had their own religion. Even her, he removed from being a queen. Why? Because she had made an idol. This is about religion, people, not about sexuality. He had made an idol in a Asherah pole, which we call grove in the KJV. But we know now from chapter 17, or from part 17, the grove is an Asherah pole. It's an idol. It's a relic. It's a sacred image to the goddess of the Canaanite queen of heaven, the deity. And King Asa, he destroyed her, meaning his ex-queen mother's idol, and burnt it by the brook Kidron. Goddamn. Y'all ought to be, man. Y'all gonna start making me ask for cash apps, tithes and offerings. I'm about to open me my own church. I'm fucking around. I'm lying. I don't want no church. I don't want no following. I just want to teach Bible until I go to my grave. That's all. I don't want you following me. I'm not here to get your vote or, I want your subscription, though. That's all I want. I don't want your money. I want your subscription. I have no church. I'm not starting no church. I'm just teaching it real and plain. See, these Hebrew Israelites today, oh, they love to tell you what Leviticus 18:22 says. Leviticus 20:13 says, man shall not lie with man as he lie with woman, for it is an abomination. Man shall not lie with man. It's abomination. And they too shall be put to death, and their blood shall be on their own hands. As I spoke about these two scriptures in part 17, these scriptures were a polemic. These scriptures were a direct assault. I'm talking about the scriptures about man not lying with man. These scriptures were a direct assault on the goddess and on sodomite religion. They had nothing to do with homosexuality. For indeed and in truth, the ancient Levitical priests who wrote that shit, they didn't give a fuck about same gender loving people. They didn't really give a shit about homosexuality. They only gave a shit about homosexuality because they understood that homosexuality was attached to the goddess and to the sodomites' form of religious worship and ritual. So the Levites, they tried to attack. They tried to attack the very foundation of their religious practices, and that is sex. Facts upon facts. Facts upon facts. I said the two laws concerning homosexuality in Leviticus 18:22 and Leviticus 20:13, they were not written because they thought homosexuality was intrinsically and in and of itself a bad thingy. They did not. You just don't know the cultural and nationalistic and religio-spiritual meaning behind the scriptures. You haven't been taught. And so in your superficial in your superficial reading of these scriptures, excuse me, I don't know why I do this. In your in your superficial reading of these scriptures, you don't see what I see. I'm sorry, not sorry. In your superficial reading, all you do is read it. You don't have no historical context. You don't have no cultural context. You don't have no nationalistic context. You don't have no religious context. And you don't have no biblical context. All you do is read Leviticus 18:22 and read Leviticus 20:13, and you see it point blank, word for word. Man shall not lie with man as he lie with woman. It is abomination. They too shall be put to death, and their blood shall be upon their own hand. You don't know that these scriptures have a religious connotation behind them. That this is some shit in the game, and I'm calling bullshit on the homosexual scriptures that you love. Because I know what's behind them. I know what's behind those scriptures. I know why the Levites wrote that homosexuality was a bad thing. I know what it's tied to and what it's linked to. I know the truth, and that's why I'm doing this series. The homosexual condemnation in Leviticus has nothing to do with homosexuality. And why did they feel the need to duplicate the law in 18 and then 2 chapters later in 20? Why were they redundant in talking about man on man love is wrong? Why did they do that? I'll tell you why they did it in part 18. I'm sorry, part 19. We'll see you back for part 19, y'all. I love y'all.